Doing some work on my wife's 2015 TRD Sport, and the tailgate latch is hanging up on it. So I started off first by having trouble getting some of these bolts out. These are T30s. That's not the problem that I had. The problem I had is some of them were hard to get out because they were rusting, which was kind of a surprise, seeing as this vehicle has a composite bed and all of the bosses are plastic. So how do we end up with screws that are made out of such a crappy material that they rust in the bosses? That boggles the imagination. You'd think that maybe they could have popped for like some stainless or something like that. I don't know. This just seems like a strange place to fall down. And then of course these are the bolts that hold the camera in. Now the camera, which weighs a grand total of no pounds and very few ounces, is being held in by these guys, which you're noticing it's a machine thread, which I barely got out. Put those out there. Because the piece that they are screwed into, they actually put metal bosses into that. Those appear to be stainless though. Unfortunately, where the bolts stick out the other side, wherever that may be, because you can't, they're blind, so you can't get to the back side of that. That somehow got water wicked inside of it, and there's rust inside. That's kind of bizarre. Which brings us to the actual problem. So here's your latch, and this thing would come out and not go back in. It would hang out about that far. So then the tailgate would hang up. So I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. If you open this up, and it's like, this is really difficult to move. And you can see that the chase that it's on is full of rust. And where it makes contact, it's actually carved a groove into the plastic piece. So you got a plastic piece here coming in contact with a metal piece, which is severely rusted. It looks like they have some sort of really crappy galvanized coating on that. But, I mean, it would have been better off with paint and then maybe a plastic slide or something at this point. But, I mean, the fact that that goes right directly toward a plastic piece, I'm honestly surprised that this thing survives longer than a week in the real world anyways. So, yeah, that whole thing's kind of odd. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to soak this thing in some POR 15, and then I'm just going to paint it with some black paint. Let's see what I got there. We come to these little guys, which also gave us problems. So these little pins, which are your pivot pins, those are rusted too. So that's yet one more binding point that makes this thing slow it down. So I'm going to pull those out, and I'm going to stick those in the CLR too. Did I say POR before? I meant CLR. So CLR basically eats rust, and apparently I've got quite a bit of that. Alright, so here's the CLR. We got this at, I might have called it POR or something like that. But anyways, it's CLR. Got it at Walmart. I'm going to whiff a little bit of this acid into this clear glass. I'm going to cap that back on so somebody I know doesn't knock it off the counter. Not mentioned. Okay. I know I'm number one. But I'm just going to whiff these things in there. Drop them straight into acid like you normally would. Needless to say, my face is nowhere near that. The camera is, because the camera's looking in there, but cameras don't go blind. So yeah, that was a joke. You can see this acting on the material. So I'm going to leave it in there for a while and let that clear itself up. And then I'm going to get the other piece prepared. So I got to take this big piece here off. Focus, thank you. It's got the little circlips on the ends. Focus once again. And now that I've cleaned that up a little bit, at least I can get those clips off and push these things through, and then I can push the mechanism apart. Once that's out of the way, I should be able to spin this around to this point and get that off. So yeah, just to reiterate, this is an eye irritant. If you get this in your eyes, you need to flush them out immediately. That's actually kind of fun to watch. Alright, so I have tried pushing these pins out, and the pins don't want to go. So what I'm going to do, dip a little bit of the CLR, and put that on the pin in here. I'll do that to the other one too. I'll let that sit for a little bit. There you go. So you can see how crappy that pin looks. So I'm gonna drop that in there. Into the acid it goes. Wow. Well, that's taken right off. See that going? Yeah, that is just chowing right down on the rust. All right. So you try and grab that pin and just start. Out. Oh, good. That one came out easy. Excellent. And another one for the acid. Okay, at this point, I should be able to get this thing out of here somehow. Oh, I guess that would be it. There's bushings in here, so I'm going to have to be careful. No, there are not bushings. That's just rust. Okay, now that this has got nothing near it, kind of hoping that I can spin this around to the point where I can take this off of here. There we go. That's better. So this spring has a little hook. Hooks around the side here. And that basically just sits right into that little track. And same thing's happening to you guys. Alright. Went through and I painted this stuff. So that should help. I'm going to put a little bit of heat shrink tubing on this because you can see that's still pitted. So it looks pretty terrible as far as sliding goes. These guys look okay. They'll do just fine. And that's it. I should be able to put it back together. The only thing I'm missing is one of these stupid little clips. It goes on one of these. Fell off. So I'll have to figure something else out. Maybe I'll put a tiny bolt in. This. We'll see. I need about that much. Shove down here as far as I can. At least that'll give us a good surface area to... Alright, got my keepers back on there. Now I'll put it under the latch. Okay, so take that off. Got my spring, which fits in that little detent, hopefully. Right on here. Turn that past that point there, then I should be able to shove this back together. Seems like that operates okay. All I gotta do is put my pins through. Oops, not that way. Gotta do the pins from the inside. There. Got that in there. So this is gonna either work or not work. Can you see that in there? To get the speed wire. Can you see that in there? No? Good. That's going to work. So you just got to chop the extra off. Definitely does not like that. Hope I didn't kill you with that, did I? No. Good. Alright, there we go. Look at that. That one already put itself in. Well, it needed not to be there for a second. That one put itself away too. That's pretty cool. Alright. That works. Gotta cut this loose. So I got that taped up here so the cable wouldn't get damaged. Got our camera. Make sure our watertight connector gets connected all the way in. The camera stuffed through the camera hole here. Alrighty, I'll take this, stick that up in underneath here. Actually kind of wants to snug itself in. Alright, these bigger screws, they've got a shoulder on them. They're going to go right in these guys. Kind of worried about it stripping out the plastic bosses, but I guess it's not gonna. All right, to heck with the hand tightening. Good. All right. That works fine. We're getting ready to go in reverse. Look at that. That is the scene behind us. So the backup camera works. At this point during the editing process, Terrible Ted suddenly discovered that I'd forgotten to grease the tailgate. Yeah, that's how I feel too, buddy. So I guess I'll be taking that tailgate cover off again and greasing everything. So, ended up going through and I put grease in there. Got that greased up really well. Greased up each one of the points, although you can't really see them. Let me see if I can get you under there. Yeah, greased up all those points there. Sprayed chrome moly in it, not chrome moly, moly lubricant in there and on the latch points. So now it's officially lubricated, and now I can put this thing back together and know that it was done right. Now I'm done.